Just a very, very brief background about the garden. It was established in 1894, and since the very first day that the garden was open to the public, it has been our privilege to be able to offer absolutely free admission to the garden. This is such a special place, a special space to meditate on the death and the burial and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. So if you guys at all feel called to give, and the Holy Spirit's leading you in that way, your donations are so very appreciated and welcomed. But really, I'm just excited for you guys to experience this place. It's a very unique place amidst the bustling city of Jerusalem. So I hope that you use this space to maybe see the death and the burial and the resurrection in a different way, and let the Lord meet you here and the Holy Spirit meet you here. But you guys are very welcome. So I'll keep it brief, and I'll let you guys make your own way to Sculptor and all that. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So we're at Skull Hill. First of all, just for point of reference, so you guys can know where you are, we're right just north of the old city. You can see the old city walls right there. You can probably see from there. And then the Damascus Gate is just right on the other side of those houses. Now, there's a few reasons why a lot of people say that this place is the Golgotha, the place in the skull that appears out in Scripture. The first is the most obvious, the name. It looks like a skull. In the rock cliff, you can see people who are looking at it. This was made about 100 years ago, but people who are looking at this cliff, they see a skull in it, right? Can you all see that?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It looks like a skull. This right here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So when someone was looking at this rock face, they said this must be the place where Jesus was crucified, the place of the skull. There's another theory that says, well, maybe Scripture calls it the place of the skull because it was a place where there was a lot of death and execution, and there were skulls and people who died there and all that. So we can't know. Golgotha is only ever mentioned in Scripture, in the Bible. We don't hear about it in any other sources, so it's unique. So in the end, we don't know if this is the place of the skull, but this is very, very convincing. The second reason is because it is so close to the city walls, we know that the Romans really liked to execute their victims in places that were very close to the city but outside of it, and in places that were very, very public as well. So we have Damascus Gate right there. It was a main thoroughfare coming in and out of the city. Not to mention it was a time of Passover when there would have been people who don't normally live in Jerusalem coming to Jerusalem to offer sacrifice in the temple. So busier than usual, right next to a main road. The main road would have been right where this bus station is now, right past the cliff. And so we can see the Romans using this place, a very busy public place, to crucify Jesus as well as other men. They wanted to send that message to the public saying, make sure you see that this is what's going to happen to you, and if you kind of do the same, you cause too much trouble. So that's the second reason, is how close it is to the city. And then the third reason is, according to Jewish tradition, this place, it used to be a quarry, it was used for stones. And so maybe the Romans just adopted this place to do their own style of execution. It was already a place of death. They're going to keep that there and do the death of their own birth. So those are the reasons why a lot of people say that this is definitely a place of crucifixion. Although, again, like I said, I can't know for sure. But what I really love about this place is that it gives us a really good space to envision crucifixion, right? Whether it was here or not, it would have been a place very much like this. Busy, bustling, I mean there's a bus station, everybody can see it, it's public. We can imagine Jesus down there on the cross with the crowds passing by. That's another point. we tend to imagine crucifixion happening up on a hill, right? We hear about that in our hymns, we see it in paintings, it's kind of in our mind's eye. There are 3 crosses up on a hill, right? It's just kind of almost picturesque. But in fact, because we know Romans, they wanted to do it more publicly than that, it would have been along the roadside, and the road certainly wouldn't have gone up onto the cliff. So it would have been down where the public wouldn't have actually been passing by, so down where the bus station is actually. We hear about it in scripture, the crowds passing by the cross, people talking to him, jeering at him, people talking to him face to face very easily. They're not shouting at him up on the hill. They're giving him things to drink. It was a place that was very convenient for the public to come by, the Romans to go to execute the victims. They didn't want to, spend a lot of effort on killing someone. They were too self-centered. So it would have been down here rather than up there. So I want to invite you to take a minute, take your photos, use this time and space to envision the realities of the crucifixion. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But otherwise, I'll let you guys have a couple minutes, and then I'll read on and we'll go to
መስቀል ወደ ተባለ ቦታ ጌታችን ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስን ይዘውት እንደመጡ መጽሐፍ ቅዱሳችን ይነግረናል። ስለዚህ ይሄ የምትመለከቱት ቦታ ለምሳሌ ድንጋዩን አሁን ብትመለከቱት ትክክለኛ የራስ ቅል ይመስላል። 2 አይኖች አሉት፣ አፍንጫም ነገር ይመስላል። ጠጋ ብላችሁ ማየት ትችላላችሁ።
So here we are in the garden. Now, there's only one gospel that says that there was a garden in the places of the crucifixion and the burial. Do you guys know which gospel it is?
John.
Yes, good. John 19, 41 and 42. It says, "Now in the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden. And in the garden there was a new tomb." That's important. A new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. And so they buried Jesus there. Now, there's a few kind of archaeological points we have to suggest that this was a garden in the time of Jesus, or at least some type of cultivated area. The first is that this whole site is sort of dotted with cisterns. Among the most impressive is this one. It's directly behind me. It's just insanely huge, even as far as cisterns go. But you can actually look down into it. It can hold almost 1 million liters of water. So perhaps this is evidence that it was sustaining some sort of garden as well as a family, but it's not definitive evidence. A better piece of evidence, however, is this wine press. Now, if you look right over the railing over there, you can't see it now, but when you go down to the tomb, you'll be able to see it. A wine press. Now, this is only the bottom tier of it. There would have been an upper tier as well, where they would have, pressed the grapes into juice, would have flowed down into this vat to become wine eventually. It wasn't excavated very well, so it's hard to date it, but it suggested that it dates to the time of Jesus. So this was most likely a vineyard, which is interesting. Now, I want to give you a few points about what you'll see when you go down to the tomb. This is the general layout of the tomb. It's what is known as a family tomb. It's a traditional Jewish style tomb where multiple people would have been buried in it at the same time. So you'll walk in and you'll be in the preparation chamber. Now, this was the chamber where they would wrap the body in spices and oils and prepare it for burial and mourn over the loss of the loved one. And then they would lay the body in the burial chamber along these slabs along the perimeter of the chamber until it decomposed, and then they gather the bones and put them in what are called bone boxes, which you can see a few of them when you're down there up on the ledge. But so here is a archaeologist's reconstruction of what this exact tomb probably would have looked like in the 1st century. You can see the slabs where the bodies would have laid, the places for the heads, the stairs leading up, and the wall between the 2 chambers. Now, when you go in the tomb today, it looks nothing like this. The wall isn't really there anymore. These slabs certainly aren't there anymore. When the Byzantines were at this site a few hundred years later, they reused this tomb for their own burial practices, and they had their own customs, so they modified the tomb a little bit. So they dug out these slabs and into what are called sarcophagi to lay the body down into it. And you'll see that on the wall, on the opposite side of the tomb, is this cross. And it's a Byzantine cross that they would have left there, and it has the Greek letters for Jesu Christu, Alpha and Omega. So it was most certainly a Christian site that the Byzantines used for their own burial practices. When you're down there, as you enter the tomb, if you look down, you'll notice that you're kind of stepping over something that looks like a trough. Many people suggest that this was a rolling stone track. The rolling stone for this tomb was never found. We have no idea where it is. But you can see an example of a rolling stone on the opposite side of the tomb, and that is from the 1st century, but not from this site. So it's from a different site. But it gives you an idea of what it would have been like. That one is probably much smaller than the one needed for this precise tomb. The entrance that you walk into was enlarged over time. So originally it probably would have been about half that height, very small. It wasn't a place where people were going in and out all day, right? So that's a little bit of what you'll see when you're down there. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is I just want to return to the Gospels. The Gospel of Matthew. It says that now after 3 days, Jesus was in the tomb. 3 days later, the women were on their way to the tomb and they wanted to anoint the body of their Lord. They had their ointments and their spices and they wanted to just pay their respects to it. And it says they were on their way, and then if you go over to the Gospel of Mark, you get this kind of dialogue that you don't get in Matthew, and it says, they said to one another, how are we going to roll away the stone? This stone was massive. No way 2, 3, 4 women would have been able to nudge it. And they said, how are we going to move it? And they didn't let that keep them from going, though, which I love. They still had this boldness and this purposefulness that they were going to go and they were going to somehow see the body of their Lord, and they had no idea how it would happen, but they were going anyways. And then, of course, they got to the tomb, and there was an earthquake, and they saw an angel of the Lord come down from heaven, roll away the stone, and it says the angel sat on the stone, and he said, do not be afraid. I know why you're here. You're here to see the body of your Lord. He's not here, for he's risen. And then he gives them what I like to call a commission. He gives them a little commission. He says, he invites them to come, see the place where he laid, and in doing so, you know that they would have realized his body's not here. He was dead. He was dead. And his body is not here anymore. He is raised to life. And what that means for their own faith, that truth, let that truth sink in. And then once that has sunk in, the angel said, go and tell the disciples. So come and see the place, realize what it means that he's not here, and then go and tell other people about it. And it says that the women, they did that with fear, a holy fear, and with joy. So I'm going to let you down into the tomb, go into the tomb complex in a few minutes. I'm going to let you wander around and think of this gospel story. But before I let you go, I want to commission you guys the same way. You guys have had this amazing opportunity to be in Israel and to be in the places where Jesus walked and lived, where he was born, where he lived, where he ministered. where he died and was raised to life. You've been here. Not everybody gets to do that. So it's your responsibility, I think, it's your commission, your calling to come and see these places, realize what it means for your faith, realize how it has impacted you and how it has made you read scripture in a totally different way, in a new light, in good ways, realizing things that you didn't see before, didn't understand before fully. So you've come to this place, and now I commission you to go and tell people. So my prayer is that you would do that today, and please enjoy your time.
God bless you.
When you're down in the chamber, just a quick note, try to keep it to 3 or 4 people, 4 or 5 people in the chamber at one time so it doesn't get crazy busy, and keep photos to
ያልቻለውን የሚችለው ኢየሱስ ነው። የተዘጋውን ማተብ የፈታ ኢየሱስ ጌታ እልፍ አእላፋት ቅዱስ እያሉ የሚሰግዱለት ግርማዊነቱ ሕያው ንጉሥ ጌታ ኢየሱስ ወንበሩ በሰው የተደፈረ ግርማዊ አይባል ሞቶ የቀረ የእውነት ግርማዊ አንድ ንጉሥ ሞት ያሸነፈ ጌታ ኢየሱስ ከሞት ተነሳ ከሞት ተነሳ መቃብሩን ባዶ አረገው የይሁዳ ነገድ አንበሳው 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 ኢየሱስ ጀምሮ ያለ ነበረ ዙፋኑ ጽኑ ነው ከቶ ያልተደፈረ ጉልበት ያለው ሁሉ ሚንበረከክለት አጋንንት ለስሙ ሚንቀጠቀጡለት እሱ የዘጋውን የሚከፍት የለ የከፈተውን ይዘጋ የለ በሰማይ በምድር የሌለው አቻ ንጉሠ ነገሥት ኢየሱስ ብቻ ፊቱ እንደ ፀሐይ የሚያበራ ነው ከበረዶ ይልቅ ጸጉሩ ነጭ ነው አይኖቹ እንደ እሳት ነበልባል ናቸው እንደ ብዙዎች ድምፁ አስፈሪ ነው ዮሐንስ አለ በክብር ቢያየው ፊቱ ወደኩኝ እንደ ሞተ ሰው ይሄ ነው ንጉሥ ይሄ ነው ንጉሥ እንዲህ ነው ንጉሥ እንዲህ ነው ንጉሥ አንበሳው አንበሳው ይገባዋል ኢየሱስ ከዚህ በላይ ንጉሥ መባል የተገባው ዝጉማ ተብየ ፈታው ለሌላ ሰጥም ክብሩን ሞትና ትንሣኤውን መባል ያለበት አንበሳ ሞትን ድል አድርጎ ለተነሳ ሰማይ ያረገ በደመና ዳግም ይመጣ እንደገና ይሄ ነው ንጉስ ይሄ ነው ንጉስ ይሄ ነው ንጉስ ይሄ ነው ንጉስ አንበሳው 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 ይገባዋል ኢየሱስ አሸናፊው ኢየሱስ ለይሁዳ አንበሳ ከዚህ በላይ ይገባዋል የደስታዬን እልልታ የደስታዬን እልልታ ንጉስ ለሆነው ጌታ የደስታዬን እልልታ የደስታዬን እልልታ አሰማለሁ ለጌታ የደስታዬን ጩኸት የደስታዬን ጩኸት ለንጉሠ ነገሥት የደስታዬን ጩኸት የደስታዬን ጩኸት እስኪ ልጩህለት ይገባዋል ኢየሱስ የደስታዬን እልልታ የደስታዬን እልልታ ንጉሥ ለሆነው ጌታ የደስታዬን እልልታ የደስታዬን እልልታ አሰማለሁ ለጌታ የደስታዬን ጩኸት የደስታዬን ጩኸት ለንጉሠ ነገሥት የደስታዬን ጩኸት የደስታዬን ጩኸት እስኪ ልጩህለት መንፈስ ቅዱስ እስኪናልኝ ኢየሱስን አክብርልኝ የውስጤ ጥማት መሻቴ ወልድ ሲከብር በሕይወቴ አምልኮ የሚያምርብኝ ወደ ስትቆምልኝ በመውጣት መግባቴ ላይ ንጉሳችን ሁኔ በላይ ሆነልኝ 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 በላይ መንፈስ ቅዱስ እስኪናልኝ ኢየሱስን አክብርልኝ የውስጤ ጥማት መሻቴ ወልድ ሲከብር በሕይወቴ አምልኮ የሚያምርብኝ ወነ ስትቆምልኝ በመውጣት መግባቴ ላይ ንጉሳችን ሁኔ በላይ ሆነልኝ 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 በላይ 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 በላይ
Oh,